I realize that a lot of players have brute forced their way through Pink Bean, but I thought I'd clear up some mechanics for anyone that's unsure of what's going on. Pink Bean has a 15% physical and magic piercing cap, 90 critical evasion like Infernog, and 125 evasion, which is 5 less than Infernog. In addition, the boss is resistant to piercing, reducing its effectiveness to 75%. Pink Bean is also vulnerable to accuracy, so the recommended accuracy is 105 or more. So the recommended strategy is to mount up before going in and then rush straight to the front right like I do here. If everyone stacks up on the right, then the pink beans on the far left will come towards us, making it much easier to group them. So the ads will spawn in an octagonal shape on the bottom floor, and first they will start with a headbutt attack that charges them into the middle, followed up with their homing propeller attacks that will home onto you indefinitely. These can do a lot of damage when they stack up, so I recommend grouping them up into a cluster and circling around them as you attack. For the first wave, it might be fine with the healing cross on the ground, but for the second wave, you'll definitely need to dodge a little bit. During this phase, it's useful to use skills like Rune Blades and Heavy Gunner's Gravitation skill, Knight's Spin to stagger the mobs, and Knight's Shield can also shield the propellers if you group up. Priest should also drop Holy Symbol and the healing cross at the first wave. The two Wiseman statues on the sides will be slamming their swords into the ground, causing this pattern on the ground, which will do damage to you after a few seconds. If you damage the statues during the first wave, they'll just respawn or heal back up a moment after the next wave spawns. However, there's a brief moment where you can kill them after the second wave spawns and before they heal, and they won't respawn. I wouldn't recommend this strategy though, as it's a waste of spirit and time if you fail. So along with the patterns on the ground, these Wiseman statues will cast blue circles that will shock you for a lot of damage, give you an accuracy debuff, and give you a damage over time. If you have low armor, this is going to be a one-shot. The boss jumps down a few moments after you kill all the mini beans, so watch out if you're still clearing statues. Here I get hit with the reverse directions debuff. If you have a numpad, it's useful to set your keys backwards on it so you can use them during the reverse debuff. For example, my numpad 6 moves me left and my numpad 4 moves me right. When Pink Bean has a chat bubble above him that says, "How fun?" he's going to cast the yo-yo attack. This is similar to Pap's drill punch in that it sucks you into the middle, which is going to kill you pretty quickly. You should try your best to get behind the boss here, and though it's harder to stay behind the boss than Pap, if you go extra far out of the pink circle, then you won't get sucked as fast. After a few seconds, Pink Bean will pull the yo-yo back in a straight line. It's useful to note that only the body of the yo-yo will do damage. Be careful if you're behind the boss, because if you slip to the side a little bit, the yo-yo can still hit you. After the yo-yo attack, he'll always teleport to the approximate center of the map. This pink cone means that Pink Bean is going to summon a megaphone that will stun you if you get hit. It should be pretty easy to dodge, but watch out that you don't overlap into the hitbox by being too close. When Pink Bean rolls up into a ball, he'll roll straight ahead first and then towards groups of players for a total of 2 to 4 rolls. If you have low armor, this can two-shot you. Also, if you lag, it can tick you multiple times and insta-kill you. It's possible to do damage while it's spinning in place, but not during the actual roll. If you want to dodge this, you should get out of line of sight of the first roll and then dash out immediately as he changes directions. You can also sometimes jump over the roll to negate the damage, but the timing is kind of precise and inconsistent due to lag. The boss will do anywhere from 1 to 4 sets of this roll attack. So here's the animation for the reverse controls debuff. The boss summons a remote controller before teleporting to one of a few fixed spots, and then firing out 4 debuffs. One of the most dangerous combinations is having the reverse key debuff ending during the yo-yo attack. Remember, if you get stuck in the pink circle, you can jump attack to stay in the same place. Just be away from the yo-yo string when the boss pulls the yo-yo straight back. When boss HP hits 85%, the first speaker phase begins. The goal is to bait the boss into the speakers that will stun him. You have 5 seconds to do damage starting from the moment Pink Bean hits the ground. After 5 seconds, the boss will become invincible and fire either reverse keys or music at your party. So you want to keep one person staying on the boss to bait him towards the speaker. Ideally, you want to get the boss to the speaker in 1 to 2 jumps, but in this case he just walked straight onto it. The hitbox here is not the pogo stick, but the boss body itself. Once the boss is stunned, you have around 10 seconds or more to do damage, so it's a perfect time for Holy Symbol. Here, Pink Bean will cast the Megaphone attack or Genesis, which makes orange circles on the ground. If these orange circles hit you, you'll get an accuracy debuff, as well as take some damage. Be especially careful if they're stacked up, because 2 or 3 of them can insta-kill you. After this, Pink Bean should jump back up to the middle and you repeat the same process. Sometimes if Pink Bean casts 2 attacks after getting back up, Your team will do enough damage to phase him straight into the pogo instead of having him jump up to the middle. If this happens, the party should immediately move to the right side. If you get the music debuff, you'll explode every 3 seconds and stun the people around you, unless they also have the music debuff. That's why people with music debuff should stack together on the outsides, away from everyone else. Pink Bean shoots 3 pink notes, and it also shows as a debuff icon near the tombstone debuff. These pink music note tiles will stun you regardless if you have music debuff or not, so it's important that the person baiting has safe riding. If Holy Symbol wasn't ready in the previous speaker, it's fine to use it on this one as well. Make sure you don't attack if you're not the person baiting, as it could mess up the aggro. If Pink Bean aggroes onto someone else and jumps over the speaker, everyone should move to the opposite side as fast as possible to not burn time. After recovering from the second speaker, Pink Bean does a whistle which stuns 2 blocks in front of him. After the 2 speakers starts the Eagles phase. The Eagle statues have only one real attack, which is indicated by a stone cube on the ground, where a stone falls and does damage. However, the important mechanic here is that if anyone stands within 3 blocks of the Eagle statue, it will damage reflect, meaning your attacks will drain your HP as well as do no damage to the statue. Be careful when crossing to the other side so that you don't accidentally cross through the Eagle's damage reflect zone. It's important that ranged classes don't dodge toward the Eagle statue. Melee should just go fuck off because you do enough damage anyways. But if you really want to pad those numbers, use the Sword of Time Lapin Shard. It's important to have 1 melee on the boss to drag it south so it doesn't megaphone towards the other players. After all the statues are dead, you want to damage the boss to 65% HP for the next phase. When Pink Bean jumps up, everyone with music debuff should go onto the boss, and everyone else should go onto the statues. During this phase, the Wiseman statues will give Pink Bean a defense buff, and Ariel, the goddess statue in the middle, will give the boss damage reflect. Important that everyone that doesn't have the music debuff kills Ariel first and then the Wiseman statue. Ariel's only attack is a light yellow circle that will drop a stone and do massive damage. Before buffing Pink Bean for defense, the Wiseman statue shoots a yellow orb. If someone absorbs the yellow orb, they will have 50% reduced damage instead of the boss having 80% more armor. After a few attacks, Pink Bean will jump to another platform, shooting out either reverse or music. It's important to know what platforms do what. The Ariel statue will respawn every time Pink Bean jumps, but the left Wiseman statue will only spawn if he jumps to the left, and the right one will only spawn when he jumps to the right. If the boss didn't shoot music, then everyone should be on statues except for 1 person. That one designated person should run to the boss right away to make sure it doesn't spam Genesis, making it much harder for the statue killers. When Pink Bean is on the middle platform, Ariel can cause damage reflect on the boss as well as defense buff herself, so it's important to kill her as fast as possible. Ariel is also responsible for the poison fog. When Pink Bean is on the left or right, the fog will be on the bottom floor. When Pink Bean is in the middle, the fog is on the top floor, so you're gonna need heals for this one. In the worst case scenario when Priest has music, the healing cross can be angled in such a way to reach the people killing the statues. It's also useful if statue killers stack up very close to the statue, so that Genesis will also stack, making it easier to dodge. It's also possible to cheese Pink Bean's spin attack if people stand on the opposite platform, but it can still hit you if you're lined up in a straight line with the roll. So as you can see, when Pink Bean jumps to the right, we kill Ariel first, clearing the poison fog at the bottom, which opens up the bottom space for us to kill Solomon if we need to dodge down. Genesis doesn't spawn on the bottom floor, it's only the blue lightning circles. Here the boss finally shoots at the music debuff, and you can see why you don't want to stack with people that don't have it. You can also see Ariel's defense buff on herself, making herself much harder to kill, so you want as much damage as possible right when she spawns. Next, she also casts damage reflect on the boss. If you're stacked near Ariel and the yellow circle shows on the edge of the platform above you, you still have to dodge it. The most important part is watching which debuff shoots out when he jumps, and quickly reacting to the statues when they spawn. When he jumps left or right, you want to be on the side that's between both of the statues that will spawn. When he jumps middle, you want to be on the same side as the priest. Default is typically the side that you came from, so if he jumped from left to middle, you should come on the left side of Ariel. A good rule of thumb for the entire Chaos Raid is, when you're fighting the boss, watch what animations the boss is doing. When you're fighting the statues, look at the ground around your character. When the boss reaches 40% HP, it'll be a repeat of the speakers and eagle statue phases. If the person baiting doesn't have autopod on, then Priest should use Greater Healing or Angel Ray to heal them in between Pink Bean's jumps. Even after stunning the boss, it's important for music to stand far away not to stun others and lose damage. This was a weird case where the boss started jumping before 5 seconds had passed. In 99% of your runs, it should take about 5 seconds from when the boss lands in the middle to when he starts shielding himself. If the boss lands really close to the speaker, you can try turning around so that his body lines up and gets stunned. Again, after the second speaker, he'll use a whistle attack that stuns 2 blocks in front of him. So now it's a repeat of the eagle statues phase, where the eagles buff up the boss so he takes less damage. After the eagle statues are down, we DPS the boss until 15%, where the last 2 phases begin. Now when Pink Bean does his spin attack, it'll only be 1 set of spins. I think this is also true after the first set of eagle statues at 85% HP, but I don't exactly remember. When the boss gets close to 15% HP, everyone should be ready to climb up one of the ladders and kill Ariel as fast as possible. Again, our party defaults to the left side here, but it's very important that everyone stacks on the same side. The reason for that is, in this phase, all 5 statues will spawn, and the eagle statues can be triggered from the top where you're killing Ariel from. So you only want to trigger one of the eagle statues, so it's best to have everyone on one side. Once Ariel's done, it's important to drop down as fast as possible and get out of the damage reflect range from the eagles. It's also important that players react quickly to the music debuff. During this phase, Pink Bean will have permanent damage reflect, so it's more efficient to damage from the side that he's not standing on. That doesn't mean it's not possible to hit the statues without hitting the boss, but it's very important that you don't risk everyone's damage on the eagle statue just to add your own. Above the eagle statue's health bar, you can see when damage reflect is about to end. After all the statues are cleared, everyone should jump up to the top middle platform. In the final phase, there will be some pink music note tiles that you should avoid. The boss will now dance in place, spamming Genesis, Megaphone, and music debuff. Again, our default is music people on the left side, and we prefer to have everyone stack on the north side of the platform, so when Genesis stacks up, we can dodge south. Priest should cast Holy Symbol in the middle so that everyone can use it. Once the music debuff runs out, people on the left should come to the right, and everyone should be ready to react to the next music debuff. I would say 1 minute is the bare minimum that you need for this phase if nobody's wiped and you're fully buffed. In general, during other phases, you want to have music people spread away as soon as they get the debuff, and default is typically music people on the left, so during mini beans for example, you can have everyone DPS the statue on the right, while music people DPS on the left. And that is how you clear the existence of the system. Guys, if you found this guide useful or enjoy Mimi MS2 videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you want more in-depth guides in the future, let me know in the comments below.